Morning, gang. Good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. All right, marking off overnight levels. And then I'll show you what I'm thinking. Crazy gap up last night, huh? All right, so gold. I actually did take a long on gold. We had that big drop and it was pretty aggressive, but this was a high volume node that I had. This is a strategy I don't talk about a whole lot, but I use anchored VWAP for like a pullback if it's a bottom reversal. It's kind of the same idea as drawing a fib, so I didn't enter on the first drop, but I was pretty confident in this level because it was a high volume node I had marked off. So I anchored it at that low and then took the long off of that bounce right there. So that was a trade that I took on gold this morning. It looks like it's kind of trying to bounce, but we do have VWAP coming up here, so it could reject from that area. Turn off some of this. Check out that rejection from value area high though last night. I didn't trade that because I was heading to bed, but if you guys haven't checked out the levels and how I trade with Asia, that's it exactly right there. The value areas tend to be a pretty good range. All right, let me move over to the NQ chart. So the London session rejected right at this supply zone that I have marked off from back on August 20th. It didn't come all the way up though, so I could see us maybe finding a pullback entry long to that 670 level, like coming back up to London high. So if we get an entry long, I kind of like that just because of Nvidia. Like, I don't know if the New York session has really had a chance to react to the market news or the earnings from yesterday. But we also had a big gap up. The gap filled though. So, as always, going to stay patient and see what we get, but an entry possibility for long would be cool. We have London low here and Asia low for possible liquidity sweeps, but let's see what we get. The market is open. Good morning, chat. Good morning. As you guys are signing on, if you haven't already, hit that like button. Well, I was kind of expecting it to more open up. Didn't want to chase it though. Another opportunity or possibility if we don't get along would be to see what happens at this London high and supply zone area. Coming down to London low. Kind of trying to hold there, but it's a bit of a weak bounce. Soon as I say that, it starts to move, right? Melody, yeah, in general, I think it's smarter to really watch one. It's hard to give you which one because sometimes gold is good, sometimes NQ is good. Lately, NQ has been really good. A couple months ago, it wasn't. Well, if it doesn't hold this London low level, we can see what happens at Asia low. London session is 3 a.m. Eastern. So that right there is me. 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on my charts. So that's why I had London low there. Getting a bounce at that previous day high. Is the stream going? Yeah. Can you guys not see me? Or not hear me? Huh. Press play. Cool. Glad you got it working. We do have a Fed speaker in 24 minutes, 23 minutes, and then again in 3 hours. So that's never exciting to be trading when that's going on. Oh, shucks, Fed speaker. I know, right? That's kind of how I feel. Still chopping down here. We had that the first 2 minutes was tricky. Probably caught a couple people, longs and shorts. And now it's not giving any direction. All right. That bounce at previous day high is looking good. Man, that was a little bit tricky because I was watching London Low wherever it was. Something like that. That's where it was. Not a clean liquidity grab, so then I was like, oh, maybe it'll come down to Asia Low. Nope. Alright, let's throw our New York anchored VWAP on. There we go. You took it? There you go, Rowan. Now the question is, where is the continuation going to be? I'm leaning towards longs just because of NVIDIA, the bounce that we got at a good level, the fact that we haven't quite grabbed all of that supply zone. I could see it coming up to like 670s. Couple more minutes until that 15-minute range is set. I think I'm going to move over to ES. I did not mark off all my levels yesterday, but that's okay. Well, dang. That was a nice little pop. Start marking off our 15-minute range. We got our opening range. ES is continuing. Might be headed up to that 670 level. So midpoint of our range is probably right about where VWAP is. Yep. Kind of gonna watch and see what happens at this 517 level. Yikes. My goodness. ES is right at the New York Anchor VWAP. Let's see if it holds. Account destroyer. Yeah. If it doesn't bounce here, I'll be watching for it to maybe go back to Asia low. I could still buy it from here, though. Could I make a strategy video? That's a funny one. Go check out my YouTube video and my free 7-hour course. I have all of them. All of it there. This is interesting, gang. Alright. I'm going to grab a long. Forgot to turn my position tool on. And goal is to get back up here towards Linden High. Come on, NQ, you gonna make it? What's going on here? Dang. I didn't even look at Nvidia, but it makes sense that it would gap up, obviously. But it hasn't really done much. Yeah, Jason, it was choppy. I had entered 3 or 4 minutes before that. So I don't think it was a terrible trade. I mean, I could have been a little bit more patient with it. But it broke out of the 15-minute opening range high. It came back and retested a little below the midpoint. but then it had an aggressive buy up back up and looked like it was reclaiming the VWAPs, and ES was doing the same thing, so was looking for a continuation back up. So that was the reasoning for the trade. So NQ is coming back to the opening range low. Now we got Asia low possibly coming up. Let's see. Watch, now it's going to go up, bouncing off the 15-minute opening range low. And ES didn't even come down to its opening range low. If it does bounce and go all the way back up, that's just going to be rude. The indicators, the lines on the chart, those are VWAPs. So daily VWAP and then anchored at the New York Open. To the moon. That, oh man, that would be mean. ES and NQ are both kind of fighting with these VWAPs a little bit. Let's see if we actually get some continuation this time. So at this point, I think what I'm waiting for is either the initial balance to be set, so 30 minutes from now, or if Asia low gets swept and it looks like a good long opportunity, or if London high and this supply zone gets rejected. I think those are probably the two levels that I'd be most interested in right now. Chopping in the middle for now. No, there's no news coming up, but we do have a Fed speaker is scheduled for like right now and this afternoon. We also have the Jackson Hole symposium or whatever it's called tomorrow. So that's from what I've heard, a big reason that this week is kind of choppy. And then just summer in general. These last couple weeks of August are historically pretty slow. I think the plus side is, I mean, if you guys have been following me and hanging around watching my videos long enough, I always try to find a learning experience out of everything, or like the glass is half full kind of perspective. Like, yeah, price action sucks. And I'll fully admit, like, I have been struggling during the New York session. Thankfully, I've caught a pretty good edge with Asia, so I'm still getting payouts. But I've been struggling too. The the glass half full side of it is, if you can survive in this market where it's frustrating and, you know, it's not easy, like maybe you take your two losses and walk away, like if you can manage your risk and follow your rules and follow your daily loss limits and all that stuff in this market where it's frustrating, then imagine the level of discipline you're creating in yourself so that when the market does start to trend or it starts to get easier, you're going to be killing it. That's kind of my way of looking at the last couple weeks. Is it's a time that you can get stronger as a trader. New York is trash. Uh, Maybe right now. I wouldn't say it's gonna be like that forever though. Did I take a payout this month? Yeah. I'll have to look back through my spreadsheet and total it up, but it's a little over 60,000 in payouts from prop firms this month. All thanks to Asia, honestly. I think if I just if I just didn't trade New York like the last 2 weeks, I would have gotten more payouts. Seriously. But I didn't know that until I was in the thick of it, like sucking during the New York session. I do have a live account. I have a personal account that I trade to. Mostly prop firms. I don't have much money in my personal account. I think we're in a solid time where it's a good opportunity to take advantage of prop firms. The ROI is just ridiculous. I mean, like the Lucid Pro accounts, for example. I mean, you could take any prop firm account, but the Lucid Pro, for example, 50K accounts, $140 per account times 5. You invest $700, you take out $10,000. Like, I would do that all day. And then you do that across, 10 accounts, 15 accounts. Like, if you're a good trader, then I just feel like prop firms are a no-brainer. The leverage opportunity is there. I wouldn't have that in a personal account, like a personal funded account, unless I had $100,000 cash in it. And I mean, if you're a fan of the idea of OPM, other people's money, why not, like, let's say I had $100,000 cash, why not use that in some other investment, like real estate or whatever, and then use other people's money for trading? I don't know if prop firms are going to be like this and this good of an opportunity forever. They might get tighter, the rules might get tighter, the payout opportunities might get less good. But while we're in this stage where there's like a fight to be the top, like if you watch over the last couple weeks, the prop firm daily payout competition, the daily payout like accounts, Take Profit Trader went from a 5-day eval down to 3. My funded futures went from an an intraday trailing drawdown to end of day trailing drawdown. There was someone else. Funded Next added a new daily account option, and theirs is a $1,200 max payout per account, whereas a lot of the other ones like Tradeify or Take Profit Trader is $1,000 max per account. So like all of these prop firms are just competing to get your business, and they're making the rules better for us. So this is the time to like take advantage of it. It might not always be this good. If I take that much in a payout per month, why am I doing a paid mentorship course? Well, I have a free course. It's a 7-hour free course, and I get comments daily, like not even lying, daily about how much value there is in it. So I could charge for that. I don't. The mentorship is paid because you get to work with me one on one, so my time is not free. And I want to help people. I'm a good coach. I have over 20 years of experience coaching people on life change. I'm good at coaching people. I want to help. And with trading, like I've gotten to the point where I can trade for 2-3 hours a day and then I'm done. Like, seriously, I'm a PTO mom. I basically have a stay at home mom schedule. I volunteer at my kids' school 3 or 4 times a week. I'm the one who picks them up from school, takes them to soccer practice. I coach all of their teams. So I have the time and I want to help people. That's why I have the mentorship. Where do you access the free course? Let me get it. I'll get the link. There we go. I just posted it in the chat. The person who was asking me about the course. How long should it take to pass an eval? You have a problem with sizing too quickly to well, so Matt, I guess my question to you is like, have you taken payouts? Like, if you have a good system, you have a good strategy, you know how to read the market, you've taken payouts, then I think it's okay to be aggressive with evals. But if you're still at the point where you're like not even taking a payout, I think you need to be slow with the eval. Like, use that as practice. You're still learning your strategy, you're still learning risk management. That's my take. What's the best prop account to choose? I agree. No intraday drawdown. I don't love those. Um, my two favorites right now. Ooh, I'm gonna go with three favorites. So the Lucid Pro account. That's the one that I've been making all the money with this month. You can pass them in a day. I talked about the DGen way to pass it yesterday, which I don't recommend unless you know what you're doing. And then it's 3 days to a payout if you trade perfectly. So Lucid Pro, I really like the Tradeify Select. And then I like the My Funded Futures Rapid End of Day. They have like their normal Rapid account is intraday, but they have a like a short term limited edition. I don't know how long it's going to be around, but they have a Rapid End of Day, and that's a daily payout option. It's 4 days to pass, so it's a little bit of a longer eval than normal, but their max payout per account is like $10,000, $8,000. I don't remember. It's either 8 or 10, which is crazy because you can copy trade 3 accounts. I don't think it's wise to go to the max payout because then, if you get too greedy and you blow the account before you actually take a payout because you're trying to build all the way up to that max, you can screw yourself up. But that's just wild to me. Usually, when the payout cap is that high, it's intraday drawdown. And right now they have a 50% off. If you use my code Krista, it's $104 for a 50K daily account. So those are my top 3: Lucid Pro, Tradeify Select, and then the Rapid End of Day with My Funded Futures. Do I still trade with Trade Day? I don't. I think they are a great firm. I do. I have worked with them before. I think their rules are fair. Like, their customer service is good. I still have a code with them, like, if you want to support me. The reason I don't is they just released their, like, Tradeify or Trade Day 2.0, and they moved the good accounts to an intraday trailing drawdown. It's more of like the take profit trader model where you can have the eval be end of day, and then once you get to funded, it's intraday until you reach the buffer. And I do not like that at all. So I stopped trading with them. I was bummed when they made that switch. Camera, good question. So right now there's about 22 people in the group. So we keep it small. Like, I know everyone's name. I know what their strategies are. I know what their tilt triggers are. Like, we get very one-on-one. The sessions are 3 times a week. They're group coaching sessions, but I do have openings where if you need to hop on a one-on-one with me, I'm available for that too. But it's 2 days a week. We go over, like, once a week is like a trading psychology lesson that I will teach on, and then I leave time open for free questions. And then on the other day, it's like a trading strategy charting kind of lesson. And then again, I leave time open for like trade recaps or whatever you need help on with charting. And then once a week, I have like office hours where I just hang out in the Discord lounge and you can come talk about anything that you need help on. So 3 hours a week of time that you can come hang out with me. I do trade live with them once a week doing Asia in the Discord group so that like there's a voice chat. We can actually talk to each other and they can ask questions and stuff. And then, like I said, my schedule's open where if someone's like, man, I'm just not getting this, or like, I'm really struggling with this, can I book a call with you? So, and then journaling is a big part of it. Like you guys know, I talk about journaling a lot. So they journal and I'll check in with them a couple times throughout the week, just giving comments on their trades. But once a week, I'll like really dive in and kind of give them a zoomed out version of like, all right, this is something that's showing up regularly. We need to fix this. So that's kind of the structure. Yeah, Beru, same thing for me. Like it dipped way below London low. I didn't feel good about the sweep. So then I was waiting for Asia low and it didn't hit it. So at this point, I'm waiting to see what happens in about 6 minutes. We have the initial balance to be set. And then I'm going to see if it hits London high. Maybe take a short. You started TradeZella? Nice. Yeah, so I'm huge on journaling. I don't think it needs to be TradeZella. I mean, that's an easy version. That's what I use. It makes it nice to like auto sync all of your trades. I think the most important part of journaling though is that can be done in a notebook, a handwritten notebook, or like a Google Doc. It doesn't need to be fancy, but you got to write down what were you thinking, what were your emotions on every trade, what mistakes did you make today. That way you can start to see your patterns. This is like watching grass grow. Yeah. I know I've had people in the chat be like, man, I'm going to go mow the grass. Like, I'm going to go pull weeds or something. That sounds more fun than this. The market is weird, I think, the last couple weeks because of summer, the slow days of summer. Also, the Jackson Hole Symposium. I don't even know if it's a symposium. The Jackson Hole thing is tomorrow. Uh, what else? Oh, we have a Fed speaker supposedly talking right now. I guess the biggest thing, though, is the slowness of summer. Stacy, yes. Yeah, I think in the beginning, so I think there's different strategies for the eval stage. If you're new, I think you should treat it like you would a real like 50K account or treat it like a $2,000 account since you would have that much in drawdown. Like manage your risk, trade safe because it's almost like a practice, right? You're just going to waste a lot of money if you're blowing through evals when you don't even have a proven strategy. But in the begin, or once you're like more profitable, I think for me, I actually struggled a little bit this month. I spent a little bit more on evals than I would have liked to, like looking back. Still like very profitable, still good ROI, but I don't want to spend that much on evals. Like less could be going out. But yes, I do think it makes sense not to quote unquote waste time in the eval stage when you know you can get payouts. That's why I really like the Lucid Pro accounts, because it's, I don't want to say easy, but it's very, very doable to pass the eval in one trade. If you choose the no daily loss limit option, it's a 1.5R trade. That's why I've been crushing it with those ones lately. All right, 2 minutes until our IB is set. See if we can get a good trade. See what happens up here at London High, maybe. Baru, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. I can't answer that question since I don't have experience with Forex. I can just say that I know that strategy works with NQ and gold because that's where I've used it. But I don't have any like back testing data to be able to confidently tell you it works across all symbols or all charts. So, sorry, I don't have a good answer other than I know it works for NQ. What my IV strategy is? What's IV? Are both NQ and ES going to reject before London? Oh my goodness. This is annoying. Oh, IB. Initial balance. Yeah, sorry. I didn't know what you meant. Initial balance. So that's the first 60 minutes of the New York session. So we can take either a rejection of it or a trend continuation. And I do have a couple of videos on it, but let me draw our lines. So this is our previous daily low, or our IB low, initial balance low, and initial balance high. Pretty much the same thing as our 15-minute opening range. But a failed auction would be something like a fake breakout. So like if it comes up and it sweeps the London high and rejects and starts to close back inside the initial balance, then we could take a short, and I would probably target somewhere close to VWAP or the midpoint of the range. Or if we're looking for a trend continuation, meaning it was moving up here and it pulls back to VWAP, we could take a long and target back towards the initial balance high or London high. So that's kind of the basics of the strategy. What's up, G-Man? How are we looking? Slow. Last night was the worst trading session you've ever seen? Why is that? Do I use fibs? I do with Asia a lot. Like if I'm trading gold, it'll retrace to if it's like VWAP plus the fib, like the golden pocket, the point 0.5 to the 618. I use fibs there. And then I do with the initial balance and the 15-minute opening range, mostly just to look where the midpoint of the range is. So I'm looking for the 50%, and it's right at the New York anchored VWAP, which makes sense. So if it comes back down to that midpoint and it holds, then I would potentially look for a long. That's kind of the extent of how I use fibs. Yeah, Mission Wealth, same here. It's uh like yesterday it was 99 degrees. Before that, it's been like 103, 104. I know Phoenix is hotter than that because you're in a desert. But for us, we're also very humid. So the humidity plus the 100 degree heat, it is sucky to be outside unless you're at the pool. And honestly, even at the pool, like if you're not in the water, it's sucky to be outside. So usually we get our outside stuff done in the morning. We'll go play outside and walk the dogs and all that stuff, and then either hang out at the pool or indoors. Maui has been 80s. Rub it in, Rowan. You miss Maui? Go visit Rowan. He probably wouldn't mind. We talked about having a FMC Academy like meetup, and everyone's like, "I choose Hawaii." We can all set up some tents in Rowan's backyard. There you go. You got a half acre. Visiting Mammoth Lakes in California in 4 weeks. Ooh, that'll be a nice trip. I still have my whole family lives out in California. The red zone is a supply zone that I have. And if I was awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, I may have taken that short. That was pretty nice during the London session. But it is off of, if you zoom out to the 30-minute chart and look at August 20th, that's kind of where I got it from. That chop consolidation and then the move down happened. You can see it on the hourly chart too. But that is how I got it. So at this point, kind of watching to see if it comes down to the 50% retracement. I'll throw on the initial balance levels. This is our 50%. Possible long off of this area. Or if it comes up to London high, might take a short off of there. So the supply zones that I mark are usually from the hourly, sometimes 30-minute. I did actually just release a video on how I mark my supply zones, like 2 or 3 days ago. So go check that one out. Coming down to VWAP, waiting to see if it bounces there. Or maybe the 50%. Not a super solid bounce. Still being patient. Alright, I'll grab along there. See if it goes back up to London High. Kind of the goal. So initial balance by rejection. Since the low was formed first, there's a 92% chance that the IB high will break. Long bias on the initial balance reports. Opening candle continuation is a long bias. See if it plays out. If we do get a breakout, the levels is saying, ooh, really it's only super likely it'll hit the 0.1. The 0.2 and the 0.3 are not that great. 0.1 extension. What is that I'm looking at? This is called Edgeful. They give all kinds of different reports on like back-tested data for different stuff. So what I was looking at was the initial balance, like the likelihood that it'll break to the high or the low. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking, G-Man. But then on the report, there's only like a 72% chance or something that it hits the 0.2. The 0.1 looks good. The retracement report says 25% retracement. There's a 59% chance. Not super likely it'll hit the 50%. So hopefully this is where it holds. Ceramol, I do the 15-minute orb. Yes, I don't trade the 5-minute orb. It's too volatile for me. So 15-minute orb and then the initial balance, which is basically the 1 hour orb, I guess you could say. Come on. Dang, Av Stewart, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad you are okay. As far as the knees, I mean, I'm not a physical therapist. I am good with workouts, but I don't know what your injuries were. I'm guessing you probably got injured. So that would not be, I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell you over YouTube without like looking at you. Am I looking for London High and then back down? I mean, maybe. That is definitely a level that makes sense for it to reject at because it's, like I said, that supply zone and London High, it could reject there. We shall see. Edge flow isn't working. Yeah, the what's in play was being weird again. Those stats aren't showing. But if I go into the actual report, it does show. Like I can see this. It's just the what's in play that's being weird. Yeah, the latter lines are when I have my initial balance indicator on. That's the only reason. I usually turn it off. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone has different strategies that work, right? Well, ES is at its London high and rejecting, so NQ might be coming back down. Jeez. Let's see if we get a possible reentry. Let's look at our 50% retracement. Choppy. Still watching that VWAP area to see if we maybe get another bounce opportunity. Or the 50% retracement, which is right below it. If it comes down to like 523. Well, this is gonna go down as one of those shoulda, woulda, couldas. Shouldn't have trailed my stop loss. Now it goes. Sarah, you did the same this morning. Yeah, so I mean, I know based on my track record, I don't do well when it's choppy like this. Like if it's trending, I'm good with not moving my stop loss or giving it lots of room. But when it is ugly like this, I get scared, you know? I'm like, well, I have no idea. It could come down and hit my stop loss. At least I'd rather get $60 out of it than lose money. That's kind of what's going on in my head. I know that's terrible, but man, this price action is tough. That the reason it was, I mean, obviously there's lots of reasons, but the pullback could have been because ES was rejecting that London high. So it was just a little pullback and then we got the continuation. So probably should have just trusted my entry and left it. It's all good. Ooh, Sarah, 90-minute trade. Yikes. That would have been the type to just set it and forget it, right? I don't know if I could stare at a chart for 90 minutes and not mismanage it somehow and like move my stop loss and mess it up or something. I'm not in the trade, unfortunately. I had my stop loss couple points in profit about right there. So I don't know, grabbed like 7 or 8 points out of it. Hit my trailing stop loss and now it's moving up. Funded next 50K accounts. I personally like daily payouts, so I like their rapid daily ones. Um, so they all have a good place. The legacy accounts I like a lot because they have a higher max payout. The 50K accounts have a $6,000 max payout per account. So if you're like a good, consistent, profitable trader and you're trying to maximize your payouts, then the legacy is really good. And then if you're more of a newbie trader, like trying to get your first payout or have only gotten a couple, then I like the flex. That one is a low entry price. I think it's like $69 or something with the sale. And it's a little bit easier to pass because it has a lower threshold. It's only $2,500 profit target. So that's a good one. But if you're asking my preference, I like the rapid daily ones because I like daily payouts. All right, Sundance Kid, have a good one. You guys, if you haven't already, go hit that like button. We got 312 people watching. That's cool. 133 likes. That's pretty good. Pretty good. What are my thoughts on ICT? Do I study his concepts? I don't study them. I don't have any opinions for or against. From what I've heard, some of the theories are a little weird and like, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough to make comments. The reason I don't trade ICT is honestly it confused me. Like in the beginning when I was YouTubing just everything, like how do I trade futures? Futures trading strategy. Of course, ICT came up, and when I watched him, I just was like, I don't understand what you're saying. So I didn't dive into it more. I looked across the board at like every strategy you can imagine. I did RSI divergence, I did MACD cross, I did like 2 minute EMA, all kinds of stuff. And I found some things that just seemed super simple to me and made sense. Like draw a line here and wait for the level to hit and go. So my simple brain found something that made sense to me, and ICT did not make sense. That's my thoughts on ICT. All right, coming up to IB High. So I'll be watching for either a rejection at IB High or if it goes up further to London High. We can also watch and see what happens with ES at Asia High. If IB High on NQ and Asia High on ES get rejected at around the same time, could be good. All right, Rowan, have a good workout. You used Asia method last night and hit 183 points. I love to hear it. That's awesome. What happened to my chart? There we go. Asia High and IB High coming up. What's we gonna do, NQ? ES never quite hit Asia high. Well, the charts are going to put everyone to sleep before anything fun happens. Yeah, Asia was moving last night. I agree. Hey, Deshaun. It's been tough. So I tried along here, broke out of the 15-minute opening range, came and retraced, reclaimed VWAP. ES was doing the same, so I was thinking it would go back to the highs and had that little mean chop out. And then here, took the retracement, the bounce off of VWAP, which was also right near the 50% retracement of the initial balance. Goal was to go back to London high, and it hit my stop loss. I was a little above break even before it continued up. So one trade that I made, I don't know, $60 off of, and one stop loss. So at this point, I'm waiting for London high, maybe this 670-ish level for possible rejection, but I don't love how slow it is. Also watching ES, we have our Asia high up here. So if we get a sweep of Asia high at the same time as a rejection of IB high, could take a short there. Kind of what I'm watching. Oh yeah, Andy, I did answer it. I don't know if you want to rewind like 10 minutes ago or so when you asked it. I went into detail about lots of different accounts. I actually have not watched gold this morning, Deshaun. Let me see. I took a trade off of it this morning, pre-market, because it held my high volume node support level. I mean, it looks like it's holding the support level that I have marked off, but it's still below today's VWAP, so I wouldn't long from here. So far, like I said, it's holding this level. I mean, it's been so bullish. It has tons of room to come lower. So I'd be more excited about taking a long if it comes lower. I think the momentum to the upside on gold has definitely slowed down. So who knows? We might get a little pullback at some point. What's the name of the sessions you have? I'm not sure what you mean. All right. ES is right at Asia high. Let's see what happens. Oh, the sessions indicator, it's an edge pull sessions indicator. But there's a lot of them. I mean, I know Lux Algo has a trading sessions indicator. You can just type in trading sessions or something like that, and there's a bunch of them. So far, no rejection on Asia High for ES. A little bit annoyed about that second trade getting stopped out. Now you wish you hadn't exited at IB? Well, I mean, there's two thoughts that come to my head. One is Edgefold does show that it could go to the 0.1 extension or the 0.2 extension. But also, depending on where you entered, don't worry about trying to catch the whole move. You made money, take your portion, walk away. You should be happy with that. Because the opposite can always happen too. Like, what if you got greedy and moved your target? You're like, oh, well, maybe it's going beyond IB, and then it end up hitting your trailing stop loss and you don't make money. You never really know what's going to actually happen. How do you best utilize Edgeful? So I personally use it mostly for the initial balance because that's a strategy that I like. And I do have some videos explaining how I use the reports and stuff. There's a couple others that I watch, like I pay attention to the gap fill and the ICT opening retracement report, which to me they're very similar. They just have different targets. And then I do use the inside bars report. But that's about it. For me, I think Edgeful can be overwhelming if you're trying to look at like 20 different reports because they're probably going to give you different conflicting information. But if you're looking to learn how to use it, I honestly would tell you to watch the videos. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of every report and even every sub-report, the team has put together some really good explainer videos. This is where I've learned everything. Still watching this IB high. See if it rejects here or if it comes up to London high first. Or if this thing just keeps floating up and we don't take a short. There's a masterclass video that's good. Is that the initial balance masterclass? Or just in general, like all reports masterclass? I feel like if it was for all reports, that'd be like 4 hours long. Oh, wow. Edgeful in general. That's awesome. I'll have to check that one out. I've watched the initial balance masterclass one. I have not watched the general masterclass. All right, starting to get a rejection here at initial balance high. I'm gonna stay patient with it though. Like I want to see volume, an engulfing candle, an aggressive candle, whatever you want to call it. For now, it's kind of just floating around. There's not a specific report, at least that I know of, that shows like hitting the overnight high level. If there is, I don't know about it. But if you go to the breakout by levels report, the point 2 extension is right at London high. So according to the or the IB breakout report, there's a 74% chance that it'll hit London high because the point 2 extension is right there. Like exactly at it. Look, point 2 extension, London high, right there. We're way above the IB on ES. Let's look at our session volume profile. Man. Well, at this point, obviously it looks like it is rejecting, but I didn't really see any like volume. It was chopping around there. I didn't see a good entry. It would have just been a guess because it was starting to trade below IB high. So at this point, we can just wait and see if it retests or comes a little closer to initial balance high. Get a little better risk to reward if it maybe goes there. But yeah, it looks like it might be gone. There you go, Finex trade. Good job. Good trade. Coming back down to that point of control. Yeah, the morning is choppy. Zooming out to the 15-minute. This whole section right here was kind of tricky for some people. If you are wondering about the by free education, I'm assuming you meant the course. I just put it in the chat. Just trying to hold that point of control. Where is 25% retracement is right here at 573. And then of course we have VWAP. Still would be looking for potentially coming up to that 0.1 or 0.2 extension. It's just gonna chop its way around potentially. Or completely dump, you never know. With this market right now. Who knows? The New York session volume profile, this is from the Open, the 9:30 Open. On my chart, it's 8:30 because I'm Central Time. Do you think Edgeful will develop a crystal ball? If they do, I would pay a lot of money for it. If someone develops a crystal ball. I'll create an investment group. Like everyone in the FMT Academy, we can chip in like $1,000 each or whatever, and then just copy trade each other so we can actually afford it. All right, gang. I'm not seeing anything that I love right now. Like, yeah, that initial balance high did reject. I don't like treating them as like a float down. Because, like I said, it really, to me, felt like it would have been a guess. Like, oh, it looks like it's kind of trading below. I don't know if it's going to keep going below or go back up to London High. So I didn't feel good about that short until this candle when it was already way low. So what I'm going to watch for, I'm going to pay attention to this VWAP area for a possible long at like 545-ish. And then I'm also going to set an alert up here towards London High and see if it happens to go back up there. We could possibly take a short. But I'm not loving price action today. So those are the two levels I'm watching for a possible trade idea. But it might be a good opportunity for me just to call it. Go take the dogs on a walk. When do the summer doldrums end? You were killing it in the middle of July. Now it's hit or miss. Yeah, I feel ya. There's a lot of people struggling in August. What they say is after Labor Day. So Labor Day in the U.S. is September 7th. But that whole week could still be a little bit off because it's still kind of a short holiday week. So maybe the week after that, sometime in September. That's what I'm hoping. Well, gang, like always, if you haven't hit the like button yet, hit that on your way out. I think I'm going to hop off. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hop in the Discord too. There is a link in the description below. Come hang out with us in there. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.